Here in Chicago, we had our mayoral elections this week, and just prior to the elections, radio station WBEZ they mailed out a survey to people asking them it was an algorithm. It would determine based on their responses who their ideal candidate would be. And ironically, many people I talked to, they were surprised because they learned that their ideal candidate was Brandon Johnson. We live in a world of computer algorithms, which we believe track our preferences and sell us what we want. But more and more, it seems that it's the other way around. They have a product they want to sell, and then they make us think that we want it. But sometimes we're just not buying it. Welcome. Welcome to Conservative Coffee Hour. I'm Stanley Smith. We're following all the computer algorithms and it's not looking good. We're being sold a bill of goods and what is that bill of goods? It's that somehow we're guilty. We're guilty of being free. We're guilty of being the people. We all want to be good people, but you can't shame people into being good. We can't try to be good. We just have to be who we are and be good in the process because God has ordained that we already are good. We we of course have sides and differences, but that's all part of being who we are. None of us are just one of those things, but for some reason, increasingly, we we have to be just one thing and have a label, and then instantly we're guilty of being that one thing and not being something else. In the mayoral election here this week, it went very well. It was pretty organized, and there were no hiccups or no anomalies. And most significantly, though, was the outcome, of course, and that was that Mayor Lightfoot was voted out of office, and that was an interesting result. Actually, I have the results. I have the receipts, and in our polling place, we had 200 voters. 150 went to Vallis, 24 went to Brandon Johnson, which was surprising, and 12 went to Lori Lightfoot. I think the one of the many errors that Lori made is that she was probably trying to be good instead of actually being good. And the failure in that is that she just didn't take a look at the results of her actions all around her. In my personal life and work life and personal life, I definitely have my views and my ideas, but at the end of the day, I have to deliver. I have to deliver something that is good and has value. And I don't know if Mayor Lightfoot, does she really think she delivered anything, or if she just trying to do good? The results in our polling place are also telling because this Brandon Johnson guy came in second, and it points up the fact that we could end up with something worse than Lori. Brandon Johnson is probably that worst thing. My liberal friends have already been sold the idea that Mr. Vallis he's just way too conservative, which is amusing because everyone in this race is a Democrat. You have to remember that, of course, here in Chicago and Cook County, we're in political nirvana. There's only one party rule, and that's the Democrat Party. At a civic event this week, actually the day after the election, we had the commissioner for economic development of the city of Chicago speak to us, and she was obviously shaken by the results of the election before, and she she spoke candidly and about her personal interaction with art and culture in her life and how affected her personally. And I appreciated that. And she also talked about civic engagement and that what we were doing at this event was the important work. It was the important work of moving the city ahead culturally and economically. And she said, that's what it's all about. It's all about people like you doing what you can do to move the needle. And after she rushed out, I ran out and I gave her a hug and thanked her for her really heartfelt remarks. And then she headed back to City Hall to be with her team. And but later I reflected on the commissioner's comments, and I thought, well, where was that message? It was a good message that we need to be involved as the community and the people of the city. And we should be doing this work. It shouldn't all be put on the government. And the government shouldn't put itself in the place of being the answer to all of our problems. And I thought, well, where was that message earlier in the game? In the big picture, we're hearing that message over and over again through the algorithm that government is the answer. And somehow we, the people, just need to get out of their way. That was certainly Lori's message. It was her way or the highway. But it's telling. And also it was the similar message during the pandemic. Somehow the people got lost in the shuffle of it all. God created us free and we're absolved from guilt through God on God's behalf. No one can step into that space. Yes, there are consequences of our actions, but that's different than being guilty. I'm glad I gave the commissioner a hug because that was a heartfelt thing to do, and that should inform our actions. But later, as I reflected on it, I thought, well, there are these consequences, the consequences of her actions and the actions of government. And those consequences were manifest through a well-run election without irregularities and anomalies. And the result of that is that the people were heard and change happened. And during the pandemic, we were told that we were not allowed to leave our home or go to the park, and there will be consequences of those actions. And all these things will have consequences. Can people step into the space that only God can fill? Sure they can. No one's stopping them, but they won't be there for very long. We were all excited when Lori came into office, and I think it's safe to say we're probably more excited to see her go. We don't need a computer algorithm to figure that out. If you would like to join us at Conservative Coffee Hour, Conservative Coffee Hour is every Saturday at 10 a.m. Central Time on Zoom. I will include my email in the description of this video. I'm happy to send you an invitation. And I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.